Welcome back to Tie Town Reviews. My name is Steve, and I will, of course, today be covering the movie Dutch. Now, this is a movie that is new for me. I had it in my Thanksgiving movies ranking video. It will be up here if you decided you might want to go watch that. Ranked it pretty high, but I kept it as low as I possibly could because I was trying to go against recency bias because I was only able to watch this once and I absolutely loved it. Couldn't stop thinking about it. Decided Son-in-Law is not the only not the only movie review that I was going to do for Thanksgiving month. I decided I'm going to do Dutch too because I just had so many thoughts and just wanted to get them out. Of course, like most of my movie reviews have been, I'm going to not be very spoiler filled. I'm going to mention different characters that come throughout the movie, but I'm not going to give anything super specific away just because if you haven't seen this, please go watch it. Because review videos on YouTube are never or should never be a replacement for watching a film, especially one like Dutch. Now, it is a 1991 comedy holiday film about Thanksgiving. Yes, it's a little outdated. Yes, it's this. Yes, it's that. It's still a really good movie and deserves to be watched. My buddy Jason is the one who turned it on to me, and I wasn't sure about it originally because, like I said before, I believe I said it in my ranking video. When he first suggested this, I said, "Well, isn't that Christmas?" And he told me, "No, it's a common misconception because there's snow everywhere. People, when you watch the trailer, I don't know if when I watched the trailer that Thanksgiving was mentioned. If it was, my bad. When I first heard about this movie a couple of years ago, I watched the trailer and it felt Christmassy and all that, and I thought it was a Christmas movie. And there's already this huge plethora of movies that I was watching every year during Christmas. And so, with my misconception of it being a Christmas movie, I, of course, overlooked it or just didn't watch it, didn't get around to it. Well, Jason steered me the correct way, told me no, it is a Thanksgiving movie. And so I included it with that ranking video that I did. Again, should be up here or should have been up there. Please go watch that if you can. And then after watching it, I liked it so much, I decided I wanted to do a quick review. Hopefully, this isn't too long. Okay, let's get into the cast real fast. I'm not going to go over all the characters because there's just a lot. Because this is a road trip movie, so they run into all these different people along the way. There's only, I think, technically 5 characters that they run into along the way that I'm going to mention. The rest are prominent to the story. First up, Reed, or Dad, if you will, played by Christopher McDonald. He is the ever immortal dad actor of the 90s, or he also, as you've seen with his roles as Shooter McGavin and such, he is the go-to bully character actor of the 90s, it feels like. He is known most famously, of course, for Happy Gilmore, Flubber, Leave It to Beaver, and also he had a small role in the 98 sci-fi horror film The Faculty. Now, he's known for so much more. He has hundreds of credits to his name, most recently being in The Last Rodeo. I haven't gotten a chance to check that out. And then, of course, like I said, reprising Shooter McGavin for Happy Gilmore 2. Natalie, or Mom, if you will, played by Jo Beth Williams. She is known for films like Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2, The Big Chill, and then Kramer versus Kramer. And I'm going to be honest, I've seen one of those films. I've seen one. So she looked kind of familiar, wasn't sure why. Well, it's because I've seen Poltergeist. Now, there's 2 characters that I'm going to mention just now. They're called the Call Girls. They are what you think call girls are. Now, it's not anything weird. He doesn't call girls into his room or anything. They accept a ride. They just happen to be call girls after they start getting the ride from them. But the call girls are Brock and Haley. Brock is played by Ari Myers. She is known for the TV show Kate and Allie. I'd never heard of it. So if you recognize her from that, that's great. Haley, played by Elizabeth Gutman. She is a prolific voice actor known for things like Tommy Pickles and Rugrats, Buttercup and Powerpuff Girls, along numerous others. And she's also a recurring character actor for director Rob Zombie with some of his horror films. The Wonderful Homeless Family is what I have them listed as. It's this wonderful family that they meet at a homeless shelter about three-quarters of the way through the movie, maybe towards the tail end, and I tried to find their character names. I was only able to watch the movie once due to the way that Jason was able to share the movie with me. It was hard to find this movie. It was worth it, but it was hard to find it. Jason finally was able to share a digital copy he had with me, but the share was only good for like 2 days. By the time I realized that, time was up, and I wasn't able to go in and find the character names. And when you look on Google or IMDb, both times I looked, they were listed as homeless mom, homeless dad, and homeless child. Imagine how hard it was for me to find one of the actors. Homeless mom, played by L. Scott Caldwell, known for The Fugitive, Lost, and Gridiron Gang. Homeless dad, played by Gene Whittington, known for A Few Good Men, Escape from Planet of the Apes, and Psycho 2. Again, I haven't seen Lost, but I've seen everything that these two have been in, and it bothered me so much that I could not recognize these actors or recall what I've seen them in. And it's in that stuff. And the next character I've listed is their little girl. I have it listed as adorable little girl because she is adorable, you know. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything about her actor. Every time I tried to search adorable homeless girl from Dutch or search homeless family's daughter from Dutch, it always popped up this white actress. And of course, if you've seen this film, you already know this family that helps them out at the end is a black family. So this girl that kept popping up, this actress that kept popping up, clearly was not the girl who played the little girl that I'm talking about. Couldn't find anything on her, and it's unfortunate. She is part of one of the more poignant scenes for Doyle, who I'm about to get to, at the homeless shelter with food sharing and all this different stuff. It's a big character moment for Doyle. But Doyle, played by Ethan Embry. Still can't believe that this is who plays Doyle. He is known for things like Dutch, All I Want for Christmas, Can't Hardly Wait, Vegas Vacation, Sweet Home Alabama. I, of course, know him from Sweet Home Alabama, Vegas Vacation, Can't Hardly Wait, and All I Want for Christmas. But did not realize that this was one of the Griswold children from Vegas Vacation, that this was, I forget his character's name in Sweet Home Alabama, but he's the guy who's like a closeted gay character in the very conservative, very dangerous part of Alabama to be a gay character. But anyways, that's who this is. I had no idea that that's who this actor was. I knew he looked familiar, but I couldn't quite grab it. But that's who he is, Ethan Embry. The titular Dutch, played by Al Bundy himself. I'm sorry, Ed O'Neill, mispronounced Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill is another prolific actor like McDonald with Shooter McGavin. He is mostly known as Al Bundy, or people, younger people may know him more commonly as Jay Pritchett from Modern Family. Ed, like I said, is a prolific comedic actor. He also has done a lot of voice credits. I, of course, know him best from the two shows that we just talked about, as well as things like Little Giants, Finding Dory, Blue Chips, and Wreck-It Ralph. Now, let's jump into what is Dutch. Who is Dutch? Well, buckle up and grab your duct tape. Dutch isn't just another road trip comedy. It's a chaotic odyssey of mismatched personalities, muddy misadventures, and unexpectedly heartfelt lessons when working class good guy Dutch volunteers to bring his girlfriend's snotty prep school son Doyle home for Thanksgiving. What should have been a simple drive becomes a demolition derby of class, clashes, and comic disasters. From flaming cigars and fistfights to frozen highways and father figure growing pains, Dutch takes classic John Hughes formula, oil and water characters forced to bond on the road, and spins it into something both hilarious and surprisingly warm. Think if Ferris Bueller grew up, was put in charge of a child, and to get him safely home on a road trip, but just more mud, mayhem, and middle fingers. This is a film about finding common ground somewhere between the gutter and the country club, and learning that family isn't always who you start the trip with. but who's still there when the car finally limps in the driveway? Dutch does a good job establishing and resolving the lessons that it intends to teach. There's more than these two that I'm going to go over. However, these two are the most important. The first one we're going to go over is empathy can bridge divides. The lesson learned is Dutch is a working class man. Doyle is a wealthy, snobbish teenager who they start out despising each other. And over time, they develop mutual respect. Doyle, who initially looks down on Dutch because of his blue collar background, learns over the course of the film his kindness, honesty, and loyalty mean far more than any material possessions his biological father could buy him. Family is about love, not blood. This is something that I personally know from experience through my adoption and growing up with a family that I was not born into. Yes, familial DNA does make you family, but it's so much more than that. Dutch isn't Doyle's father, but he goes out of his way to bring him home for Thanksgiving, and eventually, through hijinks and a couple of scary scenarios, Dutch earns Doyle's affection and respect as a father figure. This, of course, is tied up very nicely in a very important scene toward the end, as well as the special acknowledgement by Dutch in one of the final scenes. This film was a breath of fresh air, and it is absolutely and most clearly a John Hughes product. There's a few times where the score kicks in and it's just the John Hughes staple. Then the end feels very distinctive to Hughes, although he didn't direct this specific movie. His fingerprint is all over it. The movie is such a fun discovery, thanks to my friend Jason, and I'm so glad he helped me be able to watch it because it absolutely was hard to find, like I mentioned earlier. I did my best to try to do this review as spoiler free as possible because it is hard to find, but it is worth watching. So I hope you seek it out. I hope you find it and I hope you watch it. If you've seen it before, watch it again. It deserves to be watched. It is a true hidden gem. So I'm trying not to allow recency bias color a lot of things, but it's worth it. And I give it a ranking of 4 father figures who deserve the title out of 5. Thank you all. See you later.